Right, hello. This is the branch vlog for 0.2.1.9, the paper ZD animation blueprint one. Oh, it was a big one. It was a big one. I did a big overhaul. I'll go through it all and then I'll show you. I'll get this playing that you're looking at. So if we start at the top, like usual, I mostly highlight it so when I'm looking back, I can like timestamp it quicker. But yeah, there was an old bug fixed. It was playing out of sync. So when you die, your character would have like the end sprite, and then it'd do all the other sprites. And it was because sprite sprite 5 was in position 1 for whatever reason, rather than it being like position 5 essentially. So or position 4 if you start at 0. So fix that one. I just noticed it was there when I was going through this stuff, so I knocked it off. Um, Barry still on 0.5 scale. I actually fixed it for all the NPCs. All the enemies are now true size, like 1, but the NPCs were not. I know they're not completely like level to the ground. They were not. This one is a bit taller, so they are actually all like still 1. You can see so like 1 1 1, and then like 1 1 1. So that's been done for the NPCs and the enemies now. I missed it for a bunch of NPCs. Um, this one, split head, zombie split head needs to be converted to master, child or master. Yeah, originally I made this one. This is a version 3. You'll notice like the quality of it looks better on like the idols, but then you'll see when it moves. If I just show you it quickly, you see that change in quality. That's the two. That's the V2, the version 2. Um, I did medical first, then I did split head. So I did medical works off. It's always faff. You try and edit with the blueprint and it'll go to um. It doesn't go to that one. It goes to the parent one. So let me just grab it for you. There's no rush. Medical top right. Master enemy blueprint right, and split head is now top right. Huh. I thought I changed that. I swear I changed it. That's why I repatriated it. Um, okay, leave that with me. That's annoying. I was convinced I changed it. It doesn't really cause any trouble. It's just it's another level of inheritance that just doesn't need to be there. I definitely did like because you can do right click reparent. Um, where is it? I might even be able to find it now. Oh, I can't find it now. But I'm blind. I can't find it now. There's definitely a way to reparent it because I remember seeing something where he said I could just ping it across. Okay, ignore that. I give up. Let's move to the next bit. But I did do it for whatever reason. It didn't save it, so I need to look at that. This one. Upgrade to Master PaperZD for animation blueprints for all enemies and NPCs. Yes, so if we start with the NPCs, each one of these um, had, you see that ABP, animation blueprint? Each one of these had its own animation blueprint. Um, if we go into it, an old one, if we go to class default, class settings, you see there, hard coded to animation, so you can't change the animation source. So you see subject Charlie animation blueprint was hard coded to subject Charlie animation source, and it locked everything down. And at the point when I was looking into this stuff last year, I was like, oh, okay, so I'll just do one for each. That's annoying, but I'll do one for each. The whole idea of this branch is to do a parent master and stop doing the one for each. So each NPC has that. Each enemy did have that. You notice it's not there now because I've deleted it. Because it was faffing about and I don't need it anyway, and I will delete the NPC one soon. I just don't want to be too destructive. But from that, this whole branch's purpose, I created you see here, master enemy animation blueprint and master NPC animation blueprint. Let's start with the NPC one. You will see that class settings, it points to master NPC animation source, and the enemy blueprint points to a master enemy animation source. We go to the animation source, which you just click it there, opens up animation source. Oh no, I didn't, sorry about this one. I didn't reparent it. That functionality is not there. The functionality is there in the animation source. You can reparent all the animation sequences. So if I just show you the animation sequences, I was showing you, let's begin like subject Charlie. You see all these animation sequences. They were all parented to subject Charlie. If I right click it, reparent sequence, rather than having to faff about and have to, recreate, because I'd need to recreate each one of these individually. Each one of these individually, I reparented it, which was helpful. Yeah, the legs are there just for a test. I literally pinched them off my character's legs and just like bodge copied it. Huh. That's not. So who's that then? That's Derek. Oh, have I called it? Oh my god, look at that. Actually, you can tell I've done it quick. I'll fix it. I'll fix it now, actually. NPC Craig walk. Oh yeah, they haven't got walk thingies, so it's all just placeholders. NPC Craig idle. There we go. So Craig is Craig, and David is nothing except from idle, and there we go. Derek. Huh, thought I clicked on the wrong one then. So yeah, so I did that. That's the animation blueprints as well as animation sequences. So these I'm kind of talking about as well as that one. But the animation graph might look a bit crazy. Uh, the enemy one's much crazier. But these were originally, if I just pick the like an original one here, subject Charlie blueprint, it looked like this. So you've got, let me just go back a step. Oh no, yeah, it's NPC. So it's just one state machine pointing to an output, and then it's just got idle, walk, horizontal, walk vertically, and some rules between. So the NPCs are like that, quite basic. The enemies are not. But what I ended up doing for it was I changed that object to master NPC rather than the individual characters. This was another thing I couldn't figure out. It didn't like it in like the V1, just due to like the class settings being locked down there. It wouldn't let me repoint to that character. So yeah, so I changed it to master NPC, and then I within that uh, every instance of this class has a name, and that name comes from the master NPC. It comes from the master NPC when it gets cast to it. So like the owning actor. So as you can imagine, each NPC has its own iteration of this master NPC animation blueprint. So then when it at runtime, well, it's essentially not completely at tick, not for NPCs anyway, but let's just say at runtime. If the name is Barry, then to the Barry state machine. If it's Craig, it's Craig, and then blah 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 blah, round and round and round and round and round and round. There you go. And then this one should never run. The only difference is it's just Barry, but he's been painted like red. And he's like his movement speed is way too quick on the animation. Just so you know something's immediately wrong. That would only trigger if all of these names didn't come back, or I put something wrong in a character's name. And how that's looking here is, let me just get it. Barry blueprint. Look on the right. The old. Is that an old one? Is that an old one? Am I going crazy? Maybe I'm going crazy. One sec. I'm either going crazy or I haven't populated it. I just haven't populated it. Yeah. So there you go. They so Jackie. So then that's Jackie's name. So when Jackie's thing runs, it goes, oh, okay, blah, blah, not that, not that, not that, Jackie, okay, run Jackie, and then, okay, what's she doing? Oh, she's not moving. Oh, so she's doing idle. Okay, so what does that look like? So it looks like this. And that's how PaperZD works. Really good. Really, if you want to do like 2D or 2.5D, it's essentially just a necessity. It's a wonderful plugin. It's the only extra plugin I've got in the entire thing. So that's the NPCs. Prepare your eyeballs for the enemy one. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Like, we'll start you off easy. We'll start you off easy. Maybe. Right. So, as you can imagine, every blueprint has an event graph as well as an animation graph. So what we were looking at then was the animation graph, and what with like the cast stuff we saw was the event graph. So what we have here is, again, I changed that from it being, individuals to being the parent, so the master enemy blueprint. And then on cast, after cast, I get the class of it, and then from that class, so instance, think instance, so individual enemy, I strip out all this information. So then they just pop here. And they've got the eyeball because they're instance editable, because obviously even if you've got 5 of the same enemy, there's 5 instances, they need to be instance editable, maybe not for name, but they certainly do for health. If you've shot one, you don't want all of them to have like an injured animation, so that's why they're instance editable. Right, prepare yourself. Oh my god, oh my god. There was an original way of doing it where I did it off names first. Well, the original way was doing float calculations. I don't have a copy of the original way because I deleted all of them. But it's float calculations and bool calculations that then like an and that created the animation select bool logic. That was version 1, the old way. This branch, first time I did it, I did that as well, but then I included what's their name, like the NPC one. Then I realized doing float and bool calculations, it's overkill when we can trigger these calculations earlier in the actual enemy blueprint, not the animation blueprint, the enemy blueprint. So if I get the enemy blueprint up, I changed the logic on here. This was essentially, there's like, if it's less than that, injured else not injured. But now it's like if you've got full health, then nothing. Um, if you have less than full health but greater than half, then you are injured. But before you're injured, you get the initial damage, and that's where I have that damage animation. When you shoot an enemy, they first take damage, and then they fall into the injured animation set. So that's why there's initial damage there. Rather than using a flow at runtime calculation, essentially on tick every time a hit event happens. Um, well, yeah, hit event, not tick, sorry. And then if it's below 50% and they can actually be badly injured, they need to have that functionality, then they're badly injured. Uh, and then after that, just wait a second and then turn off initial damage. So it's all bools now. That's what we're working with, the bools. So then go to animation blueprint and you see if they're not injured, then run all the uninjured things. If they've got styles, so if they've got two variations like green and blue, well, if it's variation 1, so 0, if it's the first variation, I should say, then 0, else 1, the second one. If there's more styles, then obviously it's 0, 1, 2. This one has 4, so 0, 1, 2. And then if it's not 0, 1, or 2, then run this one, and that one's 3, so the fourth style. But these are all uninjured. Uninjured, and these are zombies, infected characters, and enemies. It was a lot. It was a lot of transformations. Because let's just pick a random one. Medical hair. Let's look at this rule. You see, it's enemy, master enemy blueprint. I had to change each one of these for each rule, for each animation state, for each character. Right, uh, I'm back. Sorry about that. The thing, this stupid headset, 250 quid headset, thinks it's not being used because I guess I'm not playing games through it or something. I need to look at it. But yeah, so yeah, all these variations. This is all uninjured. This one. So right uninjured, middle, right of the middle initial damage. So you see, it's an animation sequence rather than a state machine. What that means is that just triggers one animation. But if we go in this, a state machine holds many animations. But I don't need a state machine to have uninjured to injured. Like maybe I would do if I created like, oh, this zombie's laying down and he's uninjured to injured. But I'm not in the business of trying to make myself lose my mind. Um, it looks good enough. Most zombies are walking towards you or stood still. You shoot them. Very rarely would like no zombies are going to be jumping. You shoot them or like whatever. At least I don't think so. Um, so yeah, middle right side of the middle is all uninjured to injured transition for the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. So if there's multiple styles, there we go. What's that one? Infection pool. Wherever put infection pool. There we go. So this one and that one, you see, same style logic like that. It looks a little bit different at the end because false can't be empty. So you see the end one has like an and. Or if there's only ever two options, then it's just two options like that straight in. So yes, we've talked about uninjured, we've talked about initial damage, and then we've talked about injured and not badly injured because the way that logic works here, you see it's stackable. Because if you've got less than 100 health, you're injured, but if you've got less than 50% health, you're badly injured, but you're still injured. So it should work. I haven't shot at them yet, but that's that. So we've got in it. So it's the same logic again, identical. Unfortunately, I couldn't just copy and paste all the state machines because, as you can imagine, while they are walking and everything's fine, the rules are identical. They've been injured, so I need to do an injured animation state machine. You could say, well, couldn't you put all the uninjured and injured together in the idles and then just put an extra rule and have like idle and injured, idle badly injured? Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. Well, even though I've just spoke to myself, and saying that out loud. That's gonna be the version 3 transition. That will mean all this duplication. These will be. You will only have one strip. We'll only have one strip, and the rules will be embedded. There'll be some rules embedded at the top, like this, like a master bool, if else thing, like true false, and then I'll combine the uninjured and injured states and badly injured all within a single state machine per style or per instance. So we'd still have two here, for example, but we'd only have one here. But that would be like split head, not split head uninjured. Okay, so I've made extra work for myself talking out loud. And then, okay, so let's say they're injured and they can be badly injured. So that's tick tick. Then we go into here. So they've ticked in. Okay, so they can be badly. So they're injured and badly injured. That's it. But let's say they can be they've become badly injured. So they've come through here. So as you can see, it's like an if else. So they just get passed through the chain from all the injury levels, like grades. This will only trigger if they're badly injured and can be badly injured. Why I've done and can be badly injured is because when you really rough up a skull face, which hasn't been set up yet, animation wise, there'll be a separate set of animations beyond injured, and same with split head. Split head has been done. It it goes into its final form. It's like um, thing like John Carpenter's The Thing. You know, when it gets badly injured and it just transforms again. So that has actually been done. I won't show that this time though, because I haven't got the guns. I have got the gun set up actually, but I don't want to do more stuff on the fly. But that is the whole enemy process. And as you can imagine, each one of these enemies had its own thing. It looks crazy. It actually runs better because you see, it's just a bunch of bools, isn't it? It's a bunch of bools and like a name, like a text, or is it a text? Yeah, text. I think there is a name variable, but it's a text, and just like an int, and that's a hell of a lot faster having just multiple instances of one thing. It's got to be than having all these different things that are all look the same, but like to the machine they're completely different because they're not instances of one another of like a master. So that is a long thing of what I did, and it took me ages. It was a lot of press F7, drag overwrite, press F7, drag overwrite, press F7. I'm talking hundreds, but it's done now. It'll never need to be done again. This issue, it was technically not a bug, so I didn't put it down as a bug. I got around this by, if we go to, let's close that down. Let's go to items. Let's go to interact collect. Let's go to that one. Let's go to raw. I used to have significantly more rows and columns, and the problem is, even though it didn't really cause an issue at this bit on Git, it went over 100 meg on the intermediate and the caching. The file isn't over 100 meg, but the way it gets cached, it was. So it was causing some issues, and I do have Git LFS, and it was just causing a right faff because I think I committed it. I committed locally before, and then I kept on committing locally. Then I tried to fix it with Git LFS, but I was trying to push everything up. But it's like the commit number one is trying to push this file that's too big. Commit number 5 is saying like, like don't do it through Git LFS. So there was some disconnect there. So I had to do a few rollbacks of commits. Fortunately, not branches, just rollbacks of commits. And I just trimmed it. Realistically, I think we'll be all right. Even if we're not, I can always just make the file bigger. It's no issue. Upgrade all NPCs to 2 times scale. It's that. It's just that was a trailing bug. We've already talked about upgrading all that stuff. Filter, yeah. In the repo, we've got new filter stuff now. Let me get it for you. Let's go back down to that. Um, you'll see in the labels there's now an art, code, and design. It's just another way for me to split it. If I just want to do only like art issues, for example, it's just that. Uh, what else? Upgrade to use master PaperZD for yeah, it's all related. You can see they're all being done at different times. 200s are very old. We're talking like year one. We're nearly at the end of year two now. And then fully remove it. So I've done that for enemies. I'm gonna do it for NPCs after this call. But you've come here to see how it works, right? Let me explain this. I'm gonna play it. Press G to go game mode on and off. These guys are gonna go left to right on these patrol points, which I have a sprite of a tiny broom at the moment. You can't even see properly. There you go. Yeah, I need a patrol point sprite. They go left and right. These guys are enemies. They roam and then attack. You will see this guy in red will move really quick. I said like if the name's not in the list, he's not coming in. Like it should never run as state engine. I talked about the NPC bit. Obviously, I called him Mad Lad. Like I have to put in something. But each one of these NPCs and each one of these enemies all manage the same sprites, same state machines, identical to what it was before I did this whole branch. But everything's now being uniformed. I do need to do that version 3 uniform I say we talked about. I talked out loud to you about putting the injured and an injured, um, badly injured, and uninjured to injured, all those state machines and those individual animation sequences just into one fully fleshed out with more rules state machine. That will be a massive overhaul, like performance overhaul. It's got to be. But let's play it. Right. So orthographic perspective. I go like that. I go like that. Like that. There we go. So watch the health. So green is infection. Blue is stress. Stress goes down quicker than infection. I don't even know if infection goes down. Oh, it does go down. I think. It didn't go up, did it? Let's watch it. No, it goes down. Health stays the same. Stamina recovers. So let's get mold. Oh, we're nearly dead. Right click use.
You healed, boy.
You are healed, boy. Um, Cheeseburgers will help us here. So then you just get a good maul in. Let's go to this one. I think this one's. I think when they attack, Split Head's got a version 3. Yeah.
Danger.
Yeah, so, rough night on the town. But it works. And honestly, it was me just going, nah, it'll probably work. Nah, let's try it. And it just does. I just figured it out. I just did like all that. That error, if you're wondering what it is, um, I'll divulge it. It'll take me a minute to explain it. I don't want to leave open-ended errors. Widgets, communication, version 2. This widget, I made it myself. Actually, I made the whole thing myself. It's real cool. Um, did I copy any of this? I think I might have copied a little bit with like the update text, but the widget's mine and like the extra functionality beyond it. And when you click stuff is mine. That error happens because those NPCs, when you come to contact with them, on collision with on your collision with the NPC, the instance of that NPC then triggers a dialogue component set of script, like a logic in the blueprint, because it's not there, because I haven't put like a I haven't put a class I haven't put like a class in essentially. I haven't plugged in Barry's. I haven't made Barry's. I've only done one for Sarah, but I haven't plugged in like a cartridge for what they're going to chit chat about. So the error is like the cartridge is like, is not in properly. It's like if we're talking like SNES talk or something. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's it's, it was wonderful. I can't describe to you like zero YouTube. Zero you. I don't really use YouTube too much anyway. I've done for this one just to double check I don't do anything silly. The one I'm working on now, but zero YouTube. Really, honestly, it's so fulfilling when you've just got it in your brain and you're like, I know this. But yeah, job done. That technically should be combined as a single word. Wonderful plugin. I think they got a grant from the government to make it. So I think these guys like they don't work for free, obviously, but the plugin's free and it's fabulous. And they're maybe like 3-4 weeks behind any brand new Unreal thingy. I think it's 5.5 out now on Unreal. Last time I checked, it was still 5.4 on PaperZD. This is 5.4. Don't install an Unreal that doesn't have the most recent one. Wait for PaperZD. Um, I shouldn't need to say that to you anyway. You know, if you're working on stuff, you don't do the. It's not like a game update, is it? An IED update. It's different. So I'm working on this now. We've talked about all of these. A little bit of that one. Nothing of that one. So quickly about the current. Skip over these. Skip over them. Talk about the last two. So current. I use a combination of data tables. Highlight it. I use a combination of data tables and just chucking stuff into animate item blueprints with some like struct logic there, and it is. I've gone a bit off the reservation with it. Um, the stuff works. Stuff works great, but it's not uniform. It's not like homogeneous. You know, like much uniform. Um, So data assets is the new way. If you've got loads of items, it does like a row. I think I don't know how it indexes itself, but when it searches, if you do anything like if you've done anything with like databases, um, if you don't set up like an index properly, then it does like I think it does like a seek rather than a scan or a scan rather than a seek, and it's just one's really intensive. A bit like if you don't partition in like data engineering and all your data's you got 99% of your data is 1998, but you want to look at 2024. If you don't partition it, it will look at everything, but you could partition it by year. So then when someone does where year equals 2024, only ever looks at that mini partition. Massive performance improvement that way. Um, that's a very radical example, but it's the same for this data tables. This assets gets around it because it's almost like looking at objects first rather than a row table. But that's that. These self-explanatory. That one I'm just getting the levels rocking. Let me just show you quickly. I see you've got Act One, got all Act One in here, all ready to go. Um, some of them are variations of ones you've seen before. A bunch of them are new levels. What new levels? Yeah, like communication room, armory, observation room, ventilation shaft. Um, Talked about that in the Metroidvania video about there's like overlap between prologue and Act 1 and Act 1 and Act 2 in sections. Lighting, blueprint expansion, yep. 3D environment, certainly when I'm using perspective, the lighting looks different, and because I'm using static meshes, the lighting behaves different. Static mesh levels going from the old way. So like version 1 was that. It's fine. It's just sprite. Version 2 is, let me get the lighting off, that. And as you can see already, the lighting behaves very different. It's got a normal map, lighting just behaves different. Look, the lighting as it is looks great on 2D, but I'm obviously I've got 3D. I've got like a diorama stuff like that. Love it. I really enjoyed using Blender for the first time in 13 years. No, 15 years. I was very much a 3ds Max boy, bit of ZBrush. Um, but yeah, I need to look at that. I need to fix the lighting. The lighting issue is just this big one. And then this one, level creation. Oh, April, I work in like financial years, I suppose you could say. I don't get any financial incentive at the moment, um, specifically for the game. But yeah, it's April to March each new year every time. So this one might be like 2 months. I'm gonna draw all these freaking levels. So the current levels, I can just give them a new lick of paint. I could just change the diffuse, change the normal, just make it match the story for the Act One variant. But for the new levels, yeah, um, it's gonna be fun, real fun. That's proper start from beginning for the levels. But that's that. That's everything. This was a big one. It's been a long time coming. I'm really glad I've done it. And yeah, we're rocking. Thanks for your time. And yeah, I'll see you in probably like a week and a half when this one's done. Maybe 2 weeks. Bye bye.